Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be an add-on video to a video I did recently of Luceout's 3D printed offerings. This is the FinalShape, and it's called the FinalShape because it's designed after the Scream 1, the Ultralight, or the Air58. If you guys have had an Air58 and you've always wanted one that's even lighter and in wireless format with a well-performing sensor, this is definitely a solid mouse. It uses the internals of the M800 Deluxe Pro, which is a 3370 sensor, and you can see it actually does have some RGB underglow there. I want to share this with you guys because this is my favorite shape of all the Luceout offerings, my favorite shape for any 3D printed mouse on the market right now. I loved the Air58. It's just such a comfortable mouse, especially for large-handed users, and just something that I've always performed very well on, so I was very happy to get my hands on this mouse. But I want to get into the build quality, things that you guys should probably look for, whether or not it's worth the price. Let's get into it. And I do just want to address the white elephant in the room. You guys are probably wondering, now that 3D printed mice are being built with Viper V2 internals, with G Pro Superlight internals, or if you're already using a G Pro Superlight or a Viper V2, how is the performance of the internals, the 3370 of an M800 Deluxe Pro? I didn't notice any issues whatsoever. I had no connectivity issues. I didn't have any issues with my tracking or sensor performance. I didn't notice any DPI deviation that was massive, something that would just cause me to absolutely start sucking in game. And in terms of liftoff distance, I had no issues whatsoever. And these are things that you can adjust in the software of the M800 Deluxe Pro. So if you're swapping from a very well-performing mouse, are you going to have any issues? I don't think so. I am not going to sit here and tell you guys that the build quality of a 3D printed mouse is nearly as good or up to the standards as something like a Razer DeathAdder V3 Pro, but I don't really think that that is the purpose of 3D printed mice. I think the purpose is to provide the market an alternative to the wired mice that we love that just aren't, for one reason or the other, releasing in wireless format. So in regard to the 3D printed builds, one thing that you will notice on the Luceout is that there is some top flex from the shell because there is not a support built in. The weight is kind of reduced to the point that it is at 39 grams because you don't have a lot of material on the inside of the mouse. And is it really a big deal? Is it a game breaker? I don't think it is, because for you to notice that flex, you would have to be essentially pushing down with your palm in game. And I don't think anyone is ever going to do that. If you're a palm gripper, I don't think you're going to be pushing down with this area of your hand when you're aiming in game. In terms of the side buttons, you will see that the side buttons actually protrude from the mouse quite a bit, and they are dot switches, and they don't feel nearly as tactile as something like the Kale 8.0s in Mouse 1 and Mouse 2 that happen to actually feel and sound pretty good in the Luceout Air58 shape. In regard to the overall stress test of the side, if you are a death gripper and you're kind of squeezing the mouse really hard when you're kind of clawing, you've got a really intense moment in game, you might feel just a little bit of budge, but nothing that would ever be game breaking. Nothing, in my opinion, that I ever felt in game. You would have to push very, very hard to get this thing to budge. With pushing with quite a lot of force, I do not actuate Mouse 4 or Mouse 5. And in terms of the side flex of Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, it is pretty much non-existent. Nothing that you're going to feel in game. The Mouse 3 actually is very spammable. The scroll wheel has a little bit of whine to it, but actually does feel quite good as well. You can see it is a 3D printed scroll wheel. So overall build quality here is actually pretty solid. It's not going to be a durability issue, in my opinion, in any of the areas where you're actually going to be making stress contacts or pressure contacts with the mouse itself in game. And if you guys go to Luce's website, you can see he has a ton of options already. I'm sure he's going to be adding more. If you're interested in the FinalShape, I do just want to throw out there that if you guys go to his website and you check out, the base price is $150. You guys can use code FRESH10. It gets you 10% off that base price. I don't get anything out of it. The shipping is $35. You have to keep in mind he is based out of Italy, so these are being shipped overseas to you in the United States. It takes your total price up to $170. But if it's a mouse that you've always been looking for in a lighter format or a wireless format, and it's not in a wireless format yet, and it's your main mouse, you love the shape, you fry on the shape, do I think it's worth it? I definitely think it is. His quality is extremely good and the performance of the internals is great. So guys, I really think that this is an awesome offering from Luce. I think it's an addition to his already great lineup that a lot of people would really love. If you've always enjoyed the Air58 shape or the ultralight shape, I definitely recommend the Luceout FinalShape. To me, it just feels absolutely amazing, and the craftsmanship here just looks beautiful. The angles, there's no excess material, everything lines up perfectly. If you're worried about the performance, don't be. Certainly moving into the future, it'd be awesome to see Viper V2 internals in here, but the problem is the Viper V2 would be adding such an expense to the mouse with already great performance anyway. You might be able to hit him up. Maybe he does custom orders. I'm not too sure. You can always inquire with him if you are really looking for the Viper V2 internals or the G Pro Superlight internals. But again, I noticed absolutely no issues with the 3370 sensor of the M800 Deluxe Pro. I think it's a great mouse. I think everything that I've tried from Luce so far is just supreme quality, and I can't recommend it enough. If you guys have any questions about 3D printed mice in the comments, and in particular the Luceout FinalShape, let me know. I hope it helped, guys. I'll catch you in the next review. Peace.